She left already. Kathy Burns and Mike left already. They were both there. Oh, no, there's Kathy.
Good thing I got this.
And Bart is there too, somebody it is.
Special meeting of the Liquor Control Commission is now called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Argyris?
Here.
Commissioner Brady?
Here.
Commissioner Heer?
Here.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Here.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Chairperson Avascado?
Here. Approval of the minutes of the special meeting of May 29th.
So move. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Argyris, second by Commissioner Heer. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Argyris?
Abstain.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Heer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hein?
Abstain.
Commissioner Lang?
Abstain.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Avascado?
Yes. Approval of the minutes of the special meeting of June 4th. Roll call, please.
So moved. I'm sorry.
Wait.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Argyris, second by Commissioner Vogel. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Argyris?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Heer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Avascado?
Yes.
In consideration of a Class L liquor license for Priester Aviation LLC, Southern Illinois University Alumni Event, 1061 South Wolf Road. The event is September 14th, 2012.
Do you have any questions?
I have one real quick, Madam President.
Yes. Do we have someone here from
Yes.
Priester?
Not so much from Priester, but from staff. John, are we still working on and trying to consolidate these hearings or these agenda items for the same type of place for having multiple events?
We do. This one didn't qualify for what we currently have. That's
Okay.
why what we currently have in our code that allows for 3 within 1 year. But yes, we already have some language that addresses that.
Okay, great. Thank you. So move.
Motion made by Commissioner Argyris,
Second.
second by Commissioner Lang. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Argyris?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Heer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Avascado?
Yes. Corey Rufato. Your certificate and you're ready to go. Thank you very much. Do we have roll call to adjourn? Motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Brady, second by Commissioner Vogel. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Argyris?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Heer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Avascado?
Yes. Village of Wheeling regular meeting is now called to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Here.
Trustee Heer?
Here.
Trustee Hein?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
President Avascado?
Here. Approve the minutes of special meeting of August 6th.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Trustee Brady, second by Trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Avascado?
Yes. We have changes to the agenda this evening.
Madam President?
Trustee Argyris.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for probable litigation about 10 minutes after the swearing in of our new fireman. Second.
Probable litigation, imminent litigation in the acquisition of real estate
Yeah, if we can.
by the village.
That's fine.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Was that motion by Trustee?
Juris, second by Brady.
Motion by Trustee Argyris, second by Trustee Brady. Roll call, please.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Avascado?
Yes. Tonight, we have the appointment of our new firefighter. I would ask the chief.
Boy, young kid.
Could you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Ryan A. Burns,
I, Ryan A. Burns,
having been appointed to the position of firefighter
having been appointed to the position of firefighter
in the village of Wheeling,
in the village of
in
Wheeling,
the counties of Cook and Lake,
in the counties of Cook and Lake,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and the
States
Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge these duties
of the office of firefighter
of the office of firefighter
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
That one there with the glasses.
I need your signature.
We have a little unique situation here tonight that I want to deviate from our historic past here. Ryan comes to us from basically a family that has been dedicated to the fire service with literally well over 100 years of tradition in various departments, the city of Chicago, the city of Evanston, and right here in the village of Wheeling. And I think it's only appropriate, Ryan, that I first of all would like to ask your dad to join us up here. Your dad is a retired chief from the city of Rolling Meadows and the city of Evanston, and it's been my pleasure to work with your dad for well over 25 years, and I think this is a moment he should be a part of. I'd also like to ask your two uncles to join us here tonight. I think it's important because I'd like Mike Burns and Mike Burns and Bart Burns to join us. Both Bart and Mike each spent over 30 years here with the Wheeling Fire Department and have left a lasting memory and legacy here in this department. The badge that you're receiving tonight is badge number 180. Nobody else has ever had that number. Nobody else will ever have that number again on the Wheeling Fire Department. It has the center of red in it that indicates courage, and hopefully you will demonstrate the courage to serve the citizens of this community well for the next 30+ years of your career. And with that, I'd like to give this badge over to your father because I think it's only appropriate that he presents you with your badge.
Nice.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Brian, we would also like to present you with your first helmet. This helmet symbolizes the courage that you're also going to need in this job. And this one will be yours forever. It shows that you're a probationary firefighter right now. And during the period, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to go to many schools. And someday you're going to be passing that knowledge on to the next guy. Welcome aboard.
We would like to welcome you to our family because we are a family and you have the family. We've had the privilege of working with your uncles, so we count it a privilege to be able to work with you. And it is really excellent to see your dad is here. And would you want to introduce your family? Also, what I'd like to do is introduce our Fire and Police Commission. Complete loss of memory. Mr. Kolsak and Mike Moran, and I don't know if my other commissioners are here this evening, but due to some of their job constraints, but they count it a privilege and have chosen for us, you, to represent us as your family has represented us and protect our community. So welcome, and introduce your family for us.
And I'd first like to thank the fire department and the village for this opportunity. I look forward to serving this community. In the front row, we have my wife Jocelyn, who's holding my son Colin, who's clapping for me.
All right.
My son Brian on the end, and my daughter Megan in the little red dress there. In the middle is my brother Patrick, my older brother, and my younger brother Colin. In the row behind that, we have my mother-in-law Megan, her good friend Angela, and my brother-in-law Greg. Behind them, we have my Aunt Mary, my Uncle Bart's wife, and holding the camera in the back is my Aunt Kathy, my Uncle Mike's wife. And in the back in the blue shirt is my Uncle Jim. And over on the side here, I have my godparents, my Uncle Wayne and Aunt Bonnie Delahanty.
We will now recess for 15 minutes for a little coffee and. Okay. What? And then we'll go straight to executive session.
Hine.
Trustee Hine? Then we need a roll call.
Madam
Judge-
President, before the roll call, if the motion could be amended to include the specific reasons for the
Oh, yes.
executive session,
Thank you.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
We're going into executive session for pending probable or imminent litigation and the acquisition of real estate of the Village of Wheeling. Now, take roll call, please.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Hine?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes, board will go into executive session at 7:55. Okay. 7:45. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Adira, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Argyros?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Erscott?
Yes.
We need a motion to reconvene into open session?
Motion to,
So move.
motion by trustee Adira, second by
Second.
trustee Brady. Roll call.
Trustee Argyros?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Hein? Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Erscott?
Yes.
Makes the citizens concerned.
Citizens' concerns and comments, Clerk Simpson?
Mr. Heber?
Time for the blood drive.
Thank you very much, President Avoscato and Village Board. I'd like to say something. We have a blood drive coming up at St. Joseph the Worker, the 9th of September, which is this Sunday. I know it doesn't give too much of a notice. There's a few facts that I'd like to give about blood. There are 4 main blood types, A, B, A and B, AB, and O. Each can be positive or negative, and they're used for all different types of blood. Some are platelets and everything else. Despite the generosity of many individuals, donations continue to fall short of what they really need, and this is really becoming a bad situation. I have a lady here tonight. I'd like to introduce her. At the last blood drive at the village, she gave her 132nd unit of blood since she's been coming to Life Source. Gary, you want to stand up? You realize that's 400 lives, up to 400 lives that this woman who's saved.
Wow, she's still alive.
That's wonderful.
She
I can't even
talk
even
about
out.
new blood. Well, this woman's crazier than I am. She jumps out of airplanes. I'm talking.
Yeah, she does.
Yes, she does.
She swims with the sharks.
I live a fun life. That's right. Waiting on all of us years ago, too.
That's right.
But can you imagine that 132 units?
It's wonderful.
What some of the blood is used for, auto accidents. I'd say a minimum of 4.5 red blood cells. That's just like platelets. Liver transplant, 20 red blood cells, 10 platelets, and 20 plasmas. Now this is just a few that I'm reading here. Bone marrow transplant, up to 1 to 2 red blood cells per week, and 6 to 8 platelets daily for 4 to 6 weeks. Now you figure that out. That's a lot of blood. Cancer, this is the one that's really got me involved. Up to 2 to 6 units of red cells, 6 to 8 units of platelets daily for 2 to 4 weeks. And this just goes on and on and on, why they need blood and why it's important. They tried a number of years back to duplicate blood. Well, they're still trying. And I don't think they'll ever succeed. Like I say, we're having this blood drive on the 9th of September at St. Joseph the Worker Parish, and the signs will be out, and walk-ins are definitely welcome. So anybody who knows anybody even that's interested in giving blood, please do so. I thank the board. I thank everybody who comes.
Thank you, Mr. Heber.
Mr. Moran?
I want to take this opportunity to let everybody know that this Saturday is our 8th annual fundraiser for the burn camp. It's a charity to send scarred children to a camp that's conducted annually up in Volo, Illinois. And it's, you don't pay for it, it's all from donated funds and fundraisers. And first of all, to announce that it's Saturday, but secondly, to thank the village, both personally and from a business standpoint on how good you've been to us. I think most everybody on this board comes and helps us out. They do it on their own time. A lot of the village staff comes out, helps us on their own time. I think it's just wonderful that we have that kind of support, and I will let you know that it's taken on a Wheeling image now. Where you talk to other people, they actually, and that's good, that they think it's a part of our community. And very frankly, most of the people that volunteer are working, you know, there are some others from out of town, some other chiefs and things like that, but most everybody there are citizens of the village, and all the people, the staff, you know, have just been great to us, and we want to thank you again for your support. Hope we see everybody Saturday. Hope we get some good weather. But again, thank you very much. I just wanted to take
Tell
this
them where
opportunity.
and what
And
time.
Mr. Moran, last year we sent 80,
I think there were 80-some
80,
children.
and that cost $1,800 per person.
Now, the irony of this, by the way, that happens this evening is you have two specifically, and I always mispronounce his name, Prospel, retired firefighter.
Yes.
And Bart Burns. They go up and spend an entire week up there as counselors. They stay with those kids, and Wheeling's been a big help in the actual camp itself up there. We have businesses in town. I think you're familiar with Skokie Valley Beverage. We went over there and they gave us 60 cases of water to bring up there in June, and it was such a hot week when they were there, and here we are with people in this village and the businesses being so supportive of this, and hopefully we keep it up, and it has our name on it. I think it's great that it has the village's name on it. But thank you very much.
Tell them
Thank
where,
you.
what time, where and what time.
I don't know. That's a Market
Market
Square.
Square at 11.
Parking lot, 11 to 5.
Okay.
Right.
And then we don't want anybody showing up for 7 and 7:30 in the morning to help us out, unload things, load tables, and do that. So appreciate anybody that will come early. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Consent agenda, all items.
Staff reports.
Oh, staff reports, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Assistant Public Works Director Christine Berger.
Thank you. The Village of Wheeling will be hosting a one-day document destruction event sponsored by the Solid Waste Agency of Northern Cook County on Saturday, September 29. The event will take place at the Wheeling Public Works Department located at 77 West Hintz Road from 9 o'clock a.m. to 11 o'clock a.m. only, rain or shine. There is no cost for residents to attend. Residents may bring medical forms, bank statements, personal files, retired tax records, and receipts for cross-shredding. There is a limit of 6 banker-sized boxes or grocery bags per vehicle. Paper clips and staples do not need to be removed. Binders, however, do need to be removed. For further information, residents may contact myself at 847-279-6903. Information is also available in the September-October newsletter, as well as the cable channels. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk Simpson.
Consent agenda, all items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item would be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Motion made by trustee Here,
Second.
second by trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Evers-Scotto?
Yes.
New business, item 13A, resolution authorizing the acceptance for the renewal of an Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority Victims of Crime Act VOCA grant award for the Victims Assistance Coordinator position.
Our Human Services Director. Sherry Herzar.
Good evening. This is a resolution requesting the renewal of this grant. The village has been a recipient of this grant since 2003, and it pays for the Victim Services Coordinator position within the Human Services Department.
So move.
Motion made by trustee Adjuris.
Second.
Second by trustee here, or second by trustee Hine.
Second.
Who was the second? Because I can't always hear that.
Where's my button?
That's right, that's what we need. Second by trustee Brady. Roll call, please.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Hine?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Eversotto?
Yes.
Item 13B has two resolutions. The first one is resolution approving contracts with Liturgical Publications Incorporated to provide printing services for Village of Wheeling newsletter.
Mr. Fondilis.
Thank you, Madam President. I will discuss both of these items together and then can answer any questions about either specific contract if you'd like. Several weeks ago, we presented a workshop item to the village board to consider a new publisher for both the village newsletter as well as the senior center newsletter. And those contracts would basically allow for advertising to become part of both of those publications in exchange for Liturgical Publications paying the entire cost, save for the postage, of printing both the village newsletter and the senior center newsletter. One of the considerations that the board requested was that for the village newsletter, only Wheeling businesses be allowed to advertise inside the village newsletter. Because of a number of concerns for the senior center newsletter, you had said it was okay to allow Wheeling or other businesses doing business inside of Wheeling, basically those that are working for and providing services to those that use the senior center. We drafted both that language that dictates Wheeling only for the village newsletter, as well as some language that prohibits certain types of advertising. This language was based off the same contract that we have with Pace Bus, who has the contract with our bus shelters that simply protects the village from there being any kind of advertising that would not reflect well to the village of Wheeling. This is pretty cut and dry. Liturgical Publications were very cooperative in understanding that the board's decision is meant to both provide a means of revenue reduction, well, not revenue reduction, but revenue income and reduction to our expenditures by signing with them, and that this idea of providing advertising not only accomplishes that goal, but also provides somewhat of a yellow pages to our residents, because it is a very direct and obvious listing of businesses that are in town that our residents can go to first before looking outside of our borders. So that's a general overview of both items. If approved this evening, the first round of the village newsletter would happen in the January-February edition, and that would take precedence. The senior center newsletter would then start in March. The way the contracts work is that Liturgical Publications book in 12-month segments, so that when a business signs up with them for either the village newsletter or the senior center newsletter, they do so for 12-month periods. That's why it's a 2-year contract, so that if we're not happy, we can back out of it at that time in 1-year increments. Other than that, the only change that our residents will see is that the paper is no longer magazine glossy paper. It is still printed on high quality, full color paper. It will just take on literally a different texture. But other than that, I believe that addresses all of the main points in both contracts, and I can answer questions for either resolution.
Madam President, if I might?
Yes, trustee Brady.
Several questions. In the publishing service agreement for, I think it's the Village of Wheeling, it says see attached Exhibit 1, and there is no Exhibit 1. Back on the last page of the service agreement. I was just wondering, was there supposed to be a copy of what the newsletter was going to look like with them, or what?
Oh, no, Exhibit 1 is the next page, which shows...
Which is the Delmar seal coating.
Pardon?
Delmar seal coating is the next page.
Whoa, you're ahead. We're on the newsletter, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Well, on the Village's newsletter, yeah.
Oh, okay. Where's the seal coating here?
I have liturgical publications, publishing agreement dated blank of blank for the Village of Wheeling. Perhaps something got
Well, wait a minute, excuse me, this Village of Wheeling newsletter advertising guidelines, and then there's it continues on to the next page, and then there's the next page is a publishing service agreement. This agreement is made to the blank day of 2012 between, and the Village of Wheeling, and then there's see attached Exhibit 1. I just wonder what that was.
I don't know if something got rearranged in the scan, but to answer your question, it was not an example of the newsletter.
We'll blame that one on Mr. Ferrolo.
Sure. Absolutely.
A couple other things, too. Right now, in looking at what we've been doing, we were printing the newsletter for the senior center, at about $5,000 a year, which is about 30 cents a copy, which was a pretty good deal. Printing our newsletter on the quality paper was $1.55 a copy. A lot of money, a lot of big difference on the paper we use. And I think you were supposed to get us some sort of an option of reducing the cost on this if need be by a different quality paper.
It became nominal, and I'm sorry I don't have those numbers in front of me. I do have them, and I didn't bring them in here this evening. I'm sorry. The difference was nominal. I don't know, Sherry, I believe the reason, and I'm looking to her to answer this, because I believe the reason that there's such a discrepancy between 30 cents and $1, what did you quote?
It was $1.50. Yeah, it's $25,940 to print 16,700.
Because the 30 cents only includes literally the paper itself. The $1.50 includes all of the actual costs that go into the newsletter. Whereas that 30 cents, it's a misinterpretation of that 30 cents.
Well, actually what it was you print the same amount, 16,700, at a cost of $5,000. That's what...
Sherry. Actually, we print 600 newsletters every 2 months. We don't send it to the entire village, we only send it to the members. So we have a much reduced number.
Okay, that makes more sense then, because right now I'm assuming that you're sending out the same amount. All right, because then there is a paragraph in there that they're going to be printing 800. That was my next question.
Correct. They'll be printing more for us.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and I think that's about it. Oh, one other thing. And they're going to send people to train our staff. Train our staff to do what? They're supposed to be doing all the work.
The only thing, if necessary, they're offering that for graphic design if we need it. We do all of the, and Sherry, you can answer for the senior center because I don't want to misstep here. As far as the village newsletter goes, that is all done in-house. Lisa Leontios, who you know, handles all of the content, both graphically and text, and sends a final file to the printer. So they would provide help if we need it, and I'm sure we can take advantage of that simply because all training is good training, but that's all that's a reference to.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. And they will contact all the businesses. They're going to send out letters. Or are they going to go to the businesses to see if they want to advertise in the newsletter?
That was.
And is that for any business?
Actually, what they will do is they will spend several days in the Village of Wheeling making contact with the businesses. So whatever information we provide them with regarding Wheeling businesses, those phone calls will be made from Wheeling. So they'll be contacting Wheeling businesses from Wheeling.
If I might, Madam President, You know,
Yes.
we have the resources right down the hall here, you know.
Oh, yes, I know, but I'm asking that question for a reason.
Okay.
Are we contacting all the businesses? I'm the only one on the board that works at a business. So they're going to contact me just to let you know they will have an interest. But I just want that so noted.
But according to this, you can't, right?
Yeah,
Right?
what?
According to the agreement here, none of us can advertise in that newsletter.
No,
No, we can't. Your business can.
no.
That's the question.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, that's what that's why I'm asking. I don't want to have a
That's what I read.
situation.
Right, no, I agree, because I got business too, and according to what I read here, I can't.
Well, it says not be an official employee, agent, or contractor of the village.
Well, we're officials.
Yeah, we are.
We're officials.
Well, perhaps we'll let the attorney weigh in on this, but I believe the answer is, as long as it's not for you personally, if it's a representation of your business, I don't know, is that an appropriate interpretation, that if you own a business in town?
Well, it's not owning a business,
Yes,
working in a business.
of course, we'd need to have an actual advertisement before us to make an opinion on it, but that is, Manager Svandelis, the type of opinion we would likely give under this scenario. An individual trustee may not advertise, but if the business decides to do so, it appears under the agreement, the business could enter into an agreement with the newsletter publisher because it is the business entering into the contract.
Not the person that's there.
Correct.
That's what I thought. It's not using the village as their, honestly. Thank you.
I don't know. That's
What?
interesting. That's pretty interesting, because you know what? I don't know.
Well, speak up, trustee Agiris.
Well, I would have a problem with it. You know, we have a couple commissioners that own a funeral home here in town, and they can advertise in that thing over there to the senior center for funeral home business, but not put their name on it, but the name of the business is their name. And they're officials of this community. There's an example. I have a business in town too. I don't have to put my name there, but pretty much everybody knows it's my business in town. Where do you draw the line on that without being a conflict or use it for political gain or anything else like that?
I didn't know you had a business in town, myself personally.
Oh, sure.
And I work for a business.
Well, I think that creates, I think that's.
And that in essence, truthfully, is not fair to the business. Let's say you're the owner of the business and they're not using your name, or the owner of the business. That's not fair because those are the people that give and give and give. And they should be able to advertise in there from the business, not using the name of Abrascato or Agiris, etc. So that's the question that we have, and I have that question.
If I may, and Attorney Smith can perhaps correct me, but as long as you have a valid Wheeling business license, this is an opportunity that is being provided to all Wheeling business license holders. I believe that is the threshold, that's where the line is drawn as to who can participate. As long as it's across the board and you're a licensed business within the Village of Wheeling, you can participate. As far as I understand it, that's the way it's written. If you'd like to see it written differently, we can discuss that.
But again, you're affiliated. And I'm sorry, people tie people into the businesses that they're in today. And I think that creates a problem. It really does. Or the perception of a problem.
I know. I'd like to point out.
I'm sorry.
That the guidelines that contain the requirement that's being debated at the table right now are guidelines that I believe the village itself has drafted. If these guidelines are open to suggestions for modifications, the village can certainly decide to change them. However, as written, a for-profit business or organization, which is called an advertiser, may commercially advertise to promote its economic interests in the newsletter so long as the following conditions are met. One of those conditions is that the advertiser not be an official employee, agent, or contractor of the village. By way of example, The village attorney is the law firm of Kleinthorpe and Jenkins. Under this proposed guideline, we would not be able to take out an advertisement in the village newsletter because we are an agent of the village.
Okay, can I ask a question, Mr. Smith?
Yes, of course.
If an establishment in this community does business with the Village of Wheeling in some capacity, would they have the right to go ahead and advertise in this newsletter? In any type of capacity, whether it be banking?
And I'm going to tell you what the question's for. I work for MB Financial Bank.
Well, we all know that.
So that's the big question. Because from the time 34 years ago, they've always been involved. So the question is, if they're called and the person they would call, I'd send it downtown, but would MB, and that's the question, MB allowed to advertise, if they so chose, in the newsletter or the senior center?
If the guidelines that are proposed in the packet were adopted, in order to give an opinion, we would need to determine whether the bank is an official, an employee, an agent, or a contractor of the village. If the answer to any of those questions is yes, then under the guidelines, the bank would not be allowed to place an advertisement in the newsletter. I don't know what the status of any relationship that may or may not exist between the bank and the village is, but that is the analysis.
Perhaps the confusion is, and as Attorney Smith just said, in this example, is the bank an agent, employee, official, or contractor of the village, not, and please correct me if I'm wrong, not an individual, correct? So
Correct.
The question is about the business.
That's correct, because it is the advertiser as defined in the proposed guidelines is the business or organization in question.
Trustee Heim had his hand up first, and then Trustee Brady, and then Trustee Lang. Trustee Heim.
No way.
I think somebody said that you have to have a business license with the Village of Wheeling. We have a lot of businesses in this community that operate from home that do not have business licenses with the Village of Wheeling. We have an awful lot of online businesses in this community that do not have a license. Are they going to be able to advertise an online business? Are they going to be able to advertise in this?
No, they will not. In order to qualify, you have to submit to a background check. And by that, I don't mean you'd have to do a separate background check. That is part of holding and applying for and receiving a village business license. So the answer would be no.
Thank you.
Trustee Brady?
In the past, in reviewing the ethics ordinances, if you have an interest in a business, might not own the business, but have an interest of X amount of dollars, I think, what is it, $5,000? When we go through these ethics questionnaires, we'd be considered an employee or a benefactor of that corporation. I think this, Dean's right, if that's the case. If Ms. Abrascato is an employee of that bank and gets her salary from that bank, isn't she actually a benefactor in that corporation?
Not under that 5,000. They ask you a different question on there. They ask you what your position is.
Well, you're the manager.
Yeah, but that money, I don't reap the money from the Village of Wheeling that does anything.
Not just,
But it doesn't give on the ethics concerning my salary.
because we have a lot of people in this community that be in the same boat you're in,
Right?
Well,
that's why I'm asking the question, because I don't want to go through any drama, okay? I don't want to go through the drama, and several of you know what that drama is, and I don't want to go through that. So I want to make sure this is correct, that if they call up in the marketing department for the establishment, who has a license here, who's shown on the window, that there isn't a question about it, because you have 10 other institutions in this village that can do the same that have never done for this village. Trustee Lang.
Thank you. I don't think we should get too carried away with this. My interpretation in looking at this is that Judy, for example, President Abrascato, say MB Financial should be able to advertise in this and go as far as saying Judy Abrascato, Vice President, but not say by any means and village president, have no relationship to the village president. Same thing with anyone else on the board. Have your business title is fine, but not your village title.
When MB primarily, and because we're on MB and that was my question, when they advertise in anything, and if any of you have ever seen it, it just tells you to call our 1-800 number, and most of the time does not even show that it's the Village of Wheeling. It shows MB Financial. But I just wanted to have that cleared up so that there is not a problem coming down the pike that, oh, she works for the bank, no wonder they have an ad in there. Everybody knows what they can do. So thank you. That was my interpretation also, because I don't reap the dollars from that. I have a job. Shame of it is nobody on here has an 8-to-5 job or a 60-hour a week job, and I happen to be the one that does that aside from Clerk Simpson.
What does that mean? I work 80, 90 hours a week.
Yeah, but it's that on call you are.
It's real. On call? No, it's real. I'm never home.
Well, what is the name of your funeral parlor? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I work for that. That's what I'm saying. So I don't want to have it from your side or your side that someone's going to have a problem if the bank decides they want to advertise. And who knows if they want to.
Well, more than likely they probably will.
Well, let's move forward.
So do I have a motion?
We have a motion by trustee Brady and then second by trustee
I
Lang.
didn't even hear. Trustee Brady?
And second by trustee Lang.
Second by trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Argyris?
No.
No?
No.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Is that for the first one?
Yes. Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
No.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes.
Item 13B2, resolution authorizing and directing the village president to enter into contract with Liturgical Publications Incorporated to provide printing services for the Village of Wheeling's newsletter.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by,
Trustee Lang?
no. Yeah,
Second.
sorry, second. Trustee, second by trustee Here.
Trustee
Roll call,
Argyris?
please.
Just a quick question. The verbiage in here pertains as the same as the senior one, right? John?
The verbiage in this one is, the only difference between the two is that this resolution requires only Village of Wheeling businesses. The senior center allows other businesses providing services to the senior center. This one is only a village business can advertise in the village newsletter.
But the same verbiage isn't,
Yes, everything else is the same, yes.
no.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
No.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes.
Item 13C, resolution approving a contract with DeMar Seal Coating Incorporated for the 2012 Metro Parking Lot Seal Coating Project.
Ms. Bajer?
Thank you. This resolution is seeking board approval of a contract with DeMar Seal Coating Incorporated for the crack sealing, seal coating, and striping of the village's 3 Metro parking lots, in addition to the Village Hall parking lot and Public Works, in the total amount, or in the bid total amount of $68,460.95. Because the overall accounts are under budget, staff is able to fund the additional costs and recommends completing all 3 projects this year. Thank you.
Do you have any questions? If not, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
trustee Lang, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Argyris?
Question.
Question by
Are
trustee
you looking for
Argyris.
an alternate here, or are we voting on the whole thing, or what? Your recommendation, staff's recommendation is both, right?
Staff's recommendation is the primary, which is the 3 Metro parking lots, as well as the Village Hall and the Public Works. So we're looking for all 3.
So that's how the resolution is written, then, for all 3, just to clarify.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes.
Item 13D, resolution authorizing the village manager to execute a demolition contract with Langos Corporation.
Mr. Janik.
This resolution concerns a demolition order for a single-family house on 115 West Manchester. The house underwent a fire, and we have been to court numerous times relative to this property. We received a court order to demolition the house, and this contract would make that possible.
Mr. Fondilas?
I just wanted the board to know that this contract is before you this evening. This is within my spending limit. I just wanted the board to vote on this since it is a residence, even though we have discussed this in the past. I wanted to give the board the opportunity to say yes to this and pass it this evening.
So moved.
Question.
Question. Motion made by Trustee Brady. We have a question.
I'll second with a question.
Thank you.
To the attorney here, are we going to be able to have the opportunity to lien the land itself once it's demoed for reimbursement of that 19,000 plus?
If the action was instituted pursuant to the demolition statute, then yes, it would be a priority lien on the property.
As long as it's done. Thank you.
Second by Trustee Agiris. Roll call, please.
Trustee Agiris?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes.
Item E, discussion impact fee ordinance.
Mr. Fondilas.
Thank you, Madam President. Several weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago actually, at our last meeting, the topic of impact fees was brought up. And tonight is not so much a presentation as much as it is a discussion and an opportunity for staff to hear from the board as what, if any, there are new thoughts on the idea of impact fees. Provided in your packet was a memo and the resolution from the last time there was official action taken on impact fees. The memo went through some of the history behind where impact fees came from within our code and described a little bit of what they are meant to serve, what they are meant to provide. Now that you have those, we would like to hear from you as what your thoughts are if you are thinking that our ordinance needs some changes or some redirection. So with the information provided in the memo, Director Janik and I can hopefully answer some questions for you.
Trustee Vogel?
Quick question. Has the fees received, how do they compare to subsequent tax receipts? Have we ever done a study of that?
Mark, the way that each of the individual taxing bodies' numbers are calculated differs from the way that a tax bill is calculated, but I believe they are similar. I don't know, Mark, if you could provide any more detail than that.
As far as I know, we have not done a comparison relative to what the tax bill is and what the impact fees are. The impact fees are based upon the number of people produced by a certain unit, residential unit. It's also based on, for instance, the taxing body itself will give us a base for how much money per resident, or and then there's also the value of land. That as sometimes in some of these calculations, the value of land is also put into it. But we don't compare it, at least we don't right now compare it to how much tax there would have been or will be.
So we really don't know if the impact fees are high compared to what subsequent tax receipts are, or too low? I mean, are they?
No.
Are they being made whole that first year? We don't know.
And
how difficult would it be to find that out?
You have to make an estimate as to what the value of a residence would be. Now, in an apartment situation, it might be a little bit harder to do, but you could do an analysis as how much the units were going to sell for, and how much tax would be derived from that, and then make a comparison. Now, you'd also have to throw in there if the unit is built, how long that unit would be on the market for. I mean, if it was on the market for longer than a year and a half, sometimes there might be a tax attached to that unit before it's actually filled.
Okay, all things being equal, I'd like to see something like that. I mean, I think that's one way we find out whether or not the other taxing bodies are getting their fair share up front or not getting it, or getting too much or not enough.
We can do that.
To be fair to both the taxing bodies and the developer. If there's something we could come up with. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions?
I agree with Dave. I think we should do a study.
So the discussion is to have a study, as brought up by Trustee Vogel. Mr. Frondelis.
We will take care of it and report back to the board.
Thank you. Any further, or is that any further? Thank you. Official communication, Mr. Trustee Agiris.
Well, I've asked staff, and we talked about this on a board level, to kind of explain what's going on with the Heritage Park Levy 37 project. Every one of us up here, especially over the last couple of weeks, have been inundated with concern from, not just from park commissioners, but from residents. What's going on? There's a lot of residents out there that are a little disappointed that they're not utilizing the park as it is today, and the future of that park should have been visibly under construction at this point. Unfortunately, we're dealing with taxing bodies, and sometimes that's harder to deal with than anything else. And I worry, as much as everybody else up here worries about this property, actually, the park district actually being developed, and the stormwater management system and everything else that was promised to us that would happen in this community. And without further ado, I think the right person to go ahead and talk about this is Manager Sfondelis, because he diligently has been working with the MWRD, with the park district staff, to try to make this happen. And I think some clarification needs to be done at this point. And we've asked him as a board to go ahead and speak on our behalf. Thank you.
Mr. Frondelis.
Thank you, Madam President. In short, a little bit of history on the project. As the board is aware, the Village of Wheeling signed an intergovernmental agreement with both MWRD, the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, and the Wheeling Park District, coming on 3 years ago in order to redevelop Heritage Park, both from a flood mitigation standpoint and then following the changes to the grade out there in order to allow more capacity to create a very large park amenity that would be the benefit of the residents of the Village of Wheeling. Following a lengthy contract negotiation, the deal was signed, as I said, nearly 3 years ago, and final engineering preparation and plans were created and finalized. MWRD let a contract for construction in April of this year, with an anticipated start date shortly thereafter. We have recently been made aware from the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District that they are concerned over a point that was detailed in the contract that calls for municipal fees to be paid to the Village of Wheeling in exchange for our time spent on the project. That fee is being contested at this point, and as far as we understand is the cause of the delay and why we haven't seen shovels in the ground. That said, MWRD has not actually requested permits be drawn at this point. They have expressed concern over these fees, and in cooperation with the Park District, or at least with their knowledge, we have been responding and working, and in fact have reduced our fee full 33% from what the contract called for. We are now waiting to hear from MWRD as to what their response is, and from there, hopefully we can get shovels in the ground. It's quite late in the year, so we're not sure how the delay caused by these fees is going to affect the overall project, but we're hopeful that MWRD will agree to what they signed for, and we can move on.
And the fees in question isn't fees that we just make up. It's part of our code.
Correct. The fees are outlined as 3.5% of the construction contract amount, and that is dictated in our code and was part of both the contract itself and an addendum issued by MWRD when they put their bid packet together soliciting their contractor for the project.
Yeah, and it was all part of their bid process and part of the contract from day one. And it's a shame that we've killed basically a whole construction year.
Right.
A whole construction year, if you think about it. And I know there's probably provisions within their contracts with the Park District and with the Army Corps and everybody else that they have timelines to meet on this project.
There are.
So I guess we'll know Thursday, huh?
Thursday.
Wow.
We have any other communication from the board? If not, do I have the approval of the bills of August 16th through August 29th?
So moved with one question
Yes, question and motion by trustee Vogel.
for Mr. Monishane. Are there limits on each of the individual MasterCard?
Yes, there are. There are, generally speaking, between $5,000 and $10,000, depending on the position.
Okay.
And everything is reviewed by supervisors and signed off on and so forth.
If someone needs to go over that limit, what happens?
If they need to go over the limit, they can ask me to put it on my village purchasing card, which has a higher limit, or we can do a temporary increase so that they can purchase something that's like a one-time expenditure that's beyond their limit.
And how far do we go?
In terms of how far will we?
What's do we have anything in place for a maximum limit? Even a temporary, before we require some other type of payment arrangement?
No, we don't have any limit like that. It has to be approved by me if it's over a certain amount.
Okay.
Trustee Vogel, if I may, perhaps this, I don't know in specific what you're referencing, but there are a number of department heads that have substantially higher amounts because they pay a number of bills for the village on their credit card. So I don't know if that's what the question was in reference to, but there are a number of department heads that have substantially higher amounts only because Luca Ursan, for one, who pays our cell phone bills and a number of other bills that are monthly and not based on purchases, but on service agreements that have substantially higher amounts. So I don't know if I wanted to clear that up if that was a question.
Is it that much of a benefit for us to have it put on a credit card, Viva, having it billed and getting terms maybe beyond the credit card?
I can answer that. It is much more efficient and less costly to put it on the credit card than to actually have to process a check and send it out and so forth. In addition to that, the village has the opportunity to earn a rebate if it exceeds a certain spending level for the year, and so there's the potential to earn some revenue from spending.
All right, thank you.
Do we have a second?
So moved.
Second by trustee here. Roll call, please.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Evans?
Yes. Do we have a motion
To adjourn?
to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made by trustee here,
Second.
second by trustee Adjuris. Roll call, please.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Evans?
Yes. Motion adjourned.